The presidential election in 2024 is probably the most important election in our country's history.
You're looking at a Biden-Trump rematch that 2/3 of the country doesn't want.
I'm Dave Gardner. I'm running for president.
The billionaire class has been taking everything and leaving everybody else to fight for the scraps.
Your right to talk about economic growth and restoring that American dream.
Gross domestic product has now become a fetish.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
We humans have outgrown our planet.
Is growth really making us richer, or is it making us poorer?
We've got to scale back.
We need people to reimagine a lifestyle which requires much less energy and material.
Didn't Elon Musk actually say one of the biggest issues that we're facing is underpopulation?
Let's not be afraid to talk about overpopulation, because it is not about taking rights away from people. It is about giving opportunities to women, children, and future generations.
Hi, and welcome to episode 3 of the Dave the Planet podcast. Obviously, I'm Dave Gardner, and you're not. And I'm pretty excited about this podcast because today I am joined by 3 esteemed members of the campaign team. Thank you guys for popping in for this conversation. Why don't we quickly kind of go do a little round robin, and I'll let each of you give us a brief introduction of yourself. And let's see, why don't we start with Allie?
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Allie Richardson from Colorado, and I'm on the campaign team here with Dave because I know the current course of humanity cannot continue without our ecological collapse. And I'm here because I want to raise awareness that we need a leader like Dave Gardner, who's connected to nature and willing to tell the truth to get us out of the path of ruin. He represents the change I want to see in my own community as a permaculturist and designer and educator. And he looks at the world, or we need to look at the world in whole system thinking to evaluate how those natural systems work in the environment and how we can apply those to our lives to live in harmony.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm in New York. I'm a professor, and I teach a course among my other courses in biology. I teach a course called Human Population, in which we address the elephant in the room, and that's the same thing that Dave Gardner is addressing in his work. And I'm here and I'm helping because I really think that's the message that needs to go out to the public and to the world, so that we're prepared for what's to come.
Hi, I'm Florence Blondell, and I really love working on this campaign because it addresses issues that I'm so passionate about, like, environmental degradation, ecological collapse, addressing rights of women and girls, empowering population solutions that will be, done without any coercion. So yes, I currently work with an organization that looks at the interconnections with the environment as well as, women's rights. So I'm really glad to be here. It would be nice to have such a candidate, for the US and for the world.
Thanks all for your introductions. We're recording this episode on Tuesday, October 10th. And I mentioned that just so that you'll know what we know and what we don't know at this point. Before we dig into the agenda for this podcast, I want to just quickly acknowledge that we did over the weekend have this horrific Hamas terrorist attack on Israel, and I really grieve for the people of Israel. Real quickly about that, something that I got in my email this morning from historian Heather Cox Richardson. She mentioned that U.S. President Joe Biden met with leaders of France, Germany, Italy, and the United Kingdom on a conference call to coordinate support for Israel. And they issued a rare joint statement afterward expressing, quote, "our steadfast and united support to the State of Israel and our unequivocal condemnation of Hamas and its appalling acts of terrorism." And they reiterated that the terrorist actions of Hamas have no justification, no legitimacy, and must be universally condemned. At the same time, the statement continued, quote, "All of us recognize the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people and support equal measures of justice and freedom for Israelis and Palestinians alike. But make no mistake, Hamas does not represent those aspirations, and it offers nothing for the Palestinian people other than more terror and bloodshed." And then one other bit of news is, of course, you guys know yesterday everyone knew that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was planning to run for president, but there was some question about whether he was running as a Democrat or not. And yesterday he made the official announcement that he is running as an independent. And he actually published an op-ed at Fox News. He wrote, "On this day, I declared my independence from the corporations that have hijacked our government to milk us for profit. I declared independence from Wall Street, big tech, big pharma, big ag, the military contractors, and their lobbyists who now outnumber members of Congress 20-1. I declared independence from the mercenary media that forever urges us to hate our neighbors and fear our friends." So it's pretty hard to disagree with the sentiments there. And then he also wrote, and finally I declared independence from the two political parties and the corrupt interests that dominate them, and the entire rigged system of rancor and rage, corruption and lies that has turned government officials into indentured servants of their corporate bosses. If left unchecked, they will commoditize our air, water, food, labor, and children, and turn the American dream into desperation and dust. So, I'll bet you guys have some thoughts about that.
That was very interesting. One of the reasons he opted out of the Democratic Party is that there's this sort of unspoken declaration that Biden is already the nominee, and he says that they're squelching any kind of activities that he can do towards becoming the nominee. They don't want it's the fear of the spoiler effect, and that's the feeling. I mean, this is one of the topics I really wanted to discuss on this podcast is the spoiler effect, because that's what they fear when they don't want to promote anybody except the number one top candidate, Biden and the Democratic Party. So there is a simple solution for the spoiler effect, by the way, and it's called ranked choice voting. And one should probably think about how you can get rid of this spoiler effect all once and for all by choosing a different voting system. Instead of what they're doing is going independent or just going head to head and damn the torpedoes, go for it. And or in the case of our campaign, Dave has promised to back off if it becomes clear that he's not going to be the nominee and support Biden, which is a solution that doesn't work for most people because they simply don't believe you. If they think you're a spoiler, they also think you're a liar. So they're not going to go along with any agreement like that. Ranked choice voting would be a solution for that. Ranked choice voting, for those that don't know, means that you vote for your first choice and your second choice and maybe your third choice. If we had ranked choice voting, I'd be voting for Dave for my first choice and Joe Biden for my second choice. So if Dave didn't win on the first round, all the votes, all my second choice votes would become first choice votes, and Joe Biden would win. There's a solution. It's a very simple solution, and it's a serious problem because I know people ideologically aligned with your campaign, Dave, that absolutely will not do it, will not go with me, even though they're personal friends. They won't go there. Even though they agree with everything that we stand for, they won't go there because they're afraid of losing votes to Trump.
Yeah, I'm glad that you highlighted that. I really felt like we needed to make that a big topic of conversation today. I wanted to share a little bit of some of the feedback that we've gotten from our launch, and I actually got kind of a long email last night from someone who'd been a follower of the Growthbusters project that sort of led me into this position that I'm in now of running for U.S. president. And he was really unhappy. He really wanted to. He was getting ready to write a check to support the Dave the Planet presidential campaign, but then he got to the point in my speech where I mentioned that I would drop out if I had to in order to make sure that what's-his-name wasn't going to get elected to have a second chance to destroy our country, or another candidate who might throw our kids' future under the bus, rather than bring a little bit of integrity and environmental stewardship to the table. And if you guys don't mind, let me read. I wrote just quickly tapped out a response. I want to see what you guys think about this. What I wrote was, I understand. I'm not crazy about the situation, but many good people are so fearful of another what's-his-name presidency, they are very reluctant to help us spread the word. So I feel I have to be honest with them, that I will do whatever it takes to avoid that child getting another crack at the White House. And that means that we've got 11 months to catch fire. I have to have a good shot at winning or be attracting enough conservative votes to go all the way. Or the GOP has to wake up and select a candidate who won't drill, frack, nuke, and quickly demolish our children's future and put a bullet in the head of integrity. I have to be honest with you, too. We're going to focus on catching fire over the next 11 months. And, you know, I mentioned in the launch that I originally didn't get into this race with any kind of expectation of winning, that I really just thought it was important for us to alert people around the world, and especially in the United States, to our ecological overshoot emergency, and develop a platform that would serve as a real good model for other political candidates who might have a chance at winning an election in 2024 or sometime in the future. But the more I thought about it, I came to realize, shoot, we just don't really have a lot of time. And if I don't get elected, it probably is Mad Max world for our kids. So it's troubling. But we are not going to get a lot of the support that we need if we don't make a promise that I won't be a spoiler and that I will pull out of the race if it really looks like staying in the race would end up with you-know-who in the White House. I think we have, I don't know what you guys think, but we probably have till September of 2024 to make that decision. And so that gives us 11 months to see what happens, to see if we can't turn the world upside down and stun everyone by attracting a huge following, because we need that in order to stay in the race, I think.
Yeah, we definitely need a huge following. And right now, of course, it's tricky because historically, there have been challenges with independent candidates really garnering any support. And I think only one ever got close, a Texas businessman, and that one was beaten by, Bill Clinton when that happened. So it's going to be a long journey ahead. And talking of following, if you need a following, you need money. There's no way, and that's one challenge this campaign is facing. We need a lot of money. We need a lot of resources to throw at people, at advertising, We are just volunteers at the moment, and we can only do so much. I mean, we are running I am running 4 social media channels at the moment, and I can't give attention to everything. So I hear you when you say we need a following, and we can get a following on social media as well, even using traditional media, but where is the money? It's got to be a lot of money. And, I've noticed our Instagram, you're getting a bit of, following. Some of the few followers that we have are trying to engage as much as, they possibly can. They're interested in what we are saying. I saw a comment on LinkedIn, which was like, wow, okay, this guy is great. We need this guy. But then, how about this? How about that? Sometimes they don't even have, enough resources or the time to even respond to some of the comments, which are really amazing. So we are losing the few that we have, and we need more. So we need money. I don't know. We can't run a successful campaign without, a successful, fundraising event. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I answer, run something by you there? I mean, it could be that we can never really get that money. It could be that we just have to run a campaign that's cheap.
Yeah.
And does it really mean that we're doomed to failure to run a campaign that's cheap? I've seen a number
Not
of
necessarily.
things. I've seen a lot of stuff get viral without a whole lot of funding. In this world of social media, everybody's connected, and if an idea catches fire, it doesn't need any money to keep going. You don't have to pay a fire. The fire just
You're right.
burns.
Yeah. I know we are relying on organic. Indeed, we are relying on organic social, but you need to do something crazy as well, to go viral. We have a good message, honestly. We do. We just need to buy into it, and I don't know. Should we go crazy?
So that's why I'm going to streak in this
insane?
podcast.
I keep telling you, you got to do something crazy. You
Exactly.
Get it started. I mean, did you see what Robert F. Kennedy has been doing? Running up the steps of that building in Philadelphia, or doing 24 pull-ups to advertise Kennedy 24. I mean, he takes his shirt off like Vladimir Putin, but it's it's an effort to do something crazy that goes viral.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely need to go viral, and I think let's talk about that next. But first, Florence, thank you for going crazy trying to keep up with that social media. And you're largely right. 9 times out of 10, maybe 95 times out of 100, money really matters. Every once in a while, a candidate prevails. Way underfunded candidates have prevailed on rare occasions, and we're likely to be that. But it is true that it would be helpful for us to have some money. It would be good for us to have a couple of paid staffers. I spend way too much of my time working on putting together reports for the Federal Election Commission and doing accounting for the campaign. It would be nice if we had a treasurer who really wanted to focus on that. It would be great to have a political strategist, a media specialist, just a few. So, we're never going to raise $50 million like some candidates do, and we'll spend more than that. But even if we raised, $100,000, we wouldn't have to think too long and hard to figure out how to spend that. And also this idea of going viral, we could spend some money on advertising dollars to help us go viral, to get our campaign video in front of more people, for example. Those are some of the first things I think that we would do if we started to get more campaign donations. And of course, the more viral we go, the more donations we're going to get. So far, our fundraising is pretty minimal, and I do not want to focus on fundraising. I want to focus on messaging. But we're going to talk about that a little bit here in this podcast, and the fact that we do need some support. And of course, the spoiler effect is keeping some people from pitching in. But I would say to you, even if you don't think I have a ghost of a chance, and I don't, but I have I have a ghost of a chance.
Yeah.
The money would be well spent, because we really do need to educate the world and inspire people to get behind the paradigm shift that we have got to make if we want our kids to have anything other than a dead planet. So going viral. Interestingly, I wanted to share a couple of comments that we got on YouTube. To the launch speech, Mike wrote, "This is the best presidential candidate I've ever seen. You entail the very fabric of what needs to be done in this space and time." And on our Wake Up America video, which I think is right now our best hope of going viral, which just has 538 views right now on YouTube, needs thousands. Brian Check, who is the executive director of the Center for the Advancement of the Steady State Economy, he wrote, "Best presidential campaign video to date."
Wow.
And another comment, "This will never be allowed by any corporation."
I like that one.
And another one from Mike, "This needs to get viral."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
There's a way to get there, and that's just to get more people involved. It doesn't take a whole lot of skill to post things on Twitter or Threads or one of these other ones. It just need more people to do it. If one person's doing all the posting, it doesn't catch fire. And we do have volunteers, and I'm wondering what's up with the volunteers right now.
Because I've been seeing, some, emails coming in, on our info email, and really a few people are really interested to get on board. But, like we said already, we are a small team. So we are talking about challenges and getting a strategy for them. We are still working on that to see how best we can take this forward, what we expect from them, what they expect of us. So all these are things that require time. And yes, we are a very small team who also have other careers, we are pursuing. Look, we have a professor amidst us who is busy for the next 2 weeks and is running our social media, Twitter page. So when are we going to get the time? I'm also busy, childcare. And that's why I say, one child, yes. That's already a struggle. So with work and then a child, and then like, okay, let me think about volunteering. I'm like, okay, I'll sacrifice a night. So yes, but some people are really interested. Some people would love to be behind this campaign. And that's nice to know, honestly. It's amazing.
If you head over to DaveThePlanet2024.com, there's a volunteer right up at the top in the main menu. You can click that and reach out to us and let us know that you would like to volunteer. And we're working on getting organized because we don't have any full-time pros working on the campaign. Be patient with us. You will hear from us, and we will find a way to plug you in, right?
Right. Yeah. So one of the things I teach is called exponential growth in the population course. And even exponential growth is already happening. You're seeing it in the number of volunteers now outnumbering the campaign team. So we saw easily a doubling. So it shouldn't be. It really is happening. We're in the early stages of exponential growth when you don't notice it. So, but for it to be exponential growth, all the people who join have to be active. Have to be started, then they will attract more. So it should be a goal of the campaign to get anybody that volunteers to start. And those early joiners, those are the ones that have the biggest effect. Same thing can be said for early donations. Those are going to have the biggest effect. Early donors are like yeast. So it's exponential growth. It's just early on right now. When you start a fire, it starts with just a little spark.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident, but we really do need your help if you're watching or listening to this podcast. The more you can like and share that Wake Up America video, the better. Email or message your friends, let them know about this campaign. I'm seeing some of that happening, and Chris is right about that exponential growth. It's almost like a multi-level marketing scheme. We let you know about this. You let 5 people know about this. Each of those 5 people lets 5 people know about this, and before you know it, we're outgunning RFK Jr.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to outgun him. I love the fact that the guy is an environmental lawyer, so he probably understands most of the issues that we are talking about. So
he has some good things to say.
Like, okay, he's not like the other guy. What's his name?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So it's a bit reassuring.
And as soon as we do have somebody else working on some of the treasurer duties, Chris and I are both pretty creative guys. We've got some real good ideas for some good YouTube videos that I think could have the potential to go viral. I just don't have time this week to be working on one because I'm working on a Federal Election Commission report. If someone else was working on that report, then I could be working on the next crazy YouTube video, and I wouldn't have to be thinking about streaking on this podcast just to get attention.
Yeah, we need some of those crazies on TikTok because that's where you really get the fire.
Yeah, but I'm surprised you guys aren't begging me. Please, Dave, do not streak.
Oh my God, I haven't. Maybe we should actually. Have you heard of the conference, pronatalism conference? It's happening in Texas.
Yeah.
Is it in November, December? We probably should go there, make some
But
viral.
it's nice and warm there, so streaking would not be so uncomfortable, I think.
Like there are all these people who are obsessed with growth, obsessed with, high fertility rates, anti-immigrants.
That would be one place. Yeah, I'd be willing to streak there. That would be. I would do that just to.
Something to
just
think
to
about.
let them know what I think about that. Yeah.
Go make some noise, but of course they are so
Crazy.
selective about what attends.
You can just get a video of anybody streaking and then put your head on it.
Deepfake.
Chris Hemsworth, maybe. Or,
There you go.
Yeah.
So, what are the things that we think we're going to be doing in this campaign that we think will be good for people to share, for us to get the word out? I think one is this podcast. People can like this, share it, recommend it, follow it. Obviously, anything that we put on our YouTube channel, especially that Wake Up America video. I'm thinking, guys, that if we have time, it would be good for us to do some webinars. Our the platform is 85% there on the website right now. There are a lot of details that we have yet to map out and some refinement that needs to be done. And we need to, I don't know all the answers. I don't think you guys know all of them. You know a lot of them. But I think we need to convene some of the experts and invite them to help us map out this national project that I am promising to launch on day one in the White House. And I think we could do either episodes of this podcast or webinars where we invite some of those experts to get together and kind of act like it's a meeting in the West Wing of the President's Council on Shrinking the Economy, President's Council on Meeting Needs in a Contracting Economy, things like that. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think on social media, people are scrolling quickly. And so when they hit upon something, you need to capture that and send them to a place where they can get more information right away. So I'm thinking of a strategy where you've got kind of a headline statement from a podcast. Click on this and you go to a webinar or you go to a podcast and you get more information. Some of the quotes that you mentioned there could be made more prominent. And people are wondering why Brian Check is saying such great things about Dave Gardner. They should be able to click on it and immediately get more information about that. Most of the comments I get when I introduce you to people is, who's Dave Gardner? They haven't seen Growth Busters, so they need information. So we're at this early exponential growth phase where we're getting the information out. We're not at the stage where you're fighting against RFK Jr. You're just you're becoming known.
Yeah, exactly. So right now we are struggling to gain traction, obviously, because even our message obviously is not the easiest to put out. But yes, bring on those experts.
But a lot of people are fascinated, and fascination has to be fed. Mm-hmm. So we see people, you're original. You're saying things nobody else is saying. Mm-hmm. That little spark goes out very quickly if you don't give them some fuel right away.
Just always adding to my to-do list, Chris.
Well, feeding the beasts.
It's the hardest part of the fire is starting it. The very beginning. It's the hardest part. I'm sure once it goes viral, money's no longer going to be a problem because, I haven't you heard rich influencers? They do nothing but make things viral, and they're making money off of monetizing things that they're putting on the web. So money will start flowing in as soon as we collect enough eyeballs. So it's hard, and I don't have time either. I teach. I'm writing grant proposals. I'm doing research.
Yeah, I really want to honor you and the other members of our team for the time that you're giving to this. It's That's amazing. Thank you.
It's not very much, but I'm doing it.
On behalf of all the children of the world and their children, if they get a chance to ever bring other children into the world, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, what you didn't realize is this is going to become something I teach next semester when I teach my population course. I'll take little snapshots from our campaign.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah.
What else, guys? Anything else on your mind that you'd like to pitch into this episode?
I'd like to say, Dave, thanks for giving us a voice too and having us join. Everyone on your campaign team has that same, idea that we are an ecological overshoot. But it's, as Florence had mentioned before, it's definitely an elephant in the room kind of conversation, especially population too, because, media is going to be where we get more, I think, attention because, what was it, Pew University or Pew Research Center, they did a study and found that Americans, 45% actually want to avoid political conversations because they're losing the trust in the system. It's so bipartisan, it's so divided. We see that during election time. Whereas, your campaign is beautiful because it's showing that we need to work together no matter what side we're on. And I think if we can show that we can work together as a community, even in our country, united, to get those ideas back together. We don't have to be separate. We can work together, even though we have differences of opinions on things. But the main goal is, we have to get back on line and wake up, that we are a part of this planet. We make impacts, and the ones that we're making right now, it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we should also think of really just approaching these powerful media houses which are progressive, which care about environmental issues and even population-related issues, like The Guardian, because I see most people write letters and they are published and we have a good message, So we should just, like I said, it goes back to manpower anyway. Like how many manpower, how many of us are there who is dedicated to find a list of journalists and just write letters to, to the editors, We look at even what they're saying and just start replying to all the rubbish that's put out there now because there's now a fight, Pronatalists are really rising up. They're all over. So we should be writing letters to the editors. I would say let's start with The Guardian because it's a great paper, widely read by everyone, and they usually really take nice pieces from anyone who's, talking sense, and we are full of sense, So it should be our starting point. We just attack, get in there, tweet these journalists if we have to. But obviously it needs commitment, which we are not really giving. So that's a disadvantage we have at the moment with this campaign, but it's doable. We're not going to harass these guys, but you're going to seek them out and see whoever picks the interest, write letters, get 5 letters and say we are writing to 5 media houses and send them and let them decide, I
think it will happen. It's happening slowly. But at the very least, what is going to happen is we're going to make a few points, and something maybe we should be putting on our, on our wall somewhere is what are the major points that we want to leave? If this campaign fails, what will be the legacy of it? And I think some of the things that you've said would be out there. I think people will say the word pronatal more, and pronatalism. Out there, and they'll start to question, they'll become aware that pronatalism exists, and they'll start to question it. And the other one, of course, is economic growth, maybe the very beginnings of questioning the growth, and what Dave calls the addiction to growth, will start to come out of this campaign. They'll say, oh, well, actually, there's a guy running for president who questions whether we should grow at all. And it opens a new area of thought that has just been ignored. And of course, another one, of course, is population, the elephant in the room that nobody talks about. Here's a campaign that's talking about it. Maybe they'll start to pay attention. I'm already seeing more people talking about population, but we are talking about very early exponential phase growth in the number of people talking about population, like going from one person to two. But it is starting. You hear it. You hear it if you listen.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, So in wrapping up, I want to urge you guys to follow the advice that I'm probably going to struggle to follow, and that is to be okay with doing what we can, and let's not get too overly concerned about not having 48 hours in a day and not having the ability to clone ourselves. Let's do our best, but let's practice some good self-care so that we can hang in there for the long term, and let's be creative and clever so that what Chris is predicting can happen, and that is that our campaign activists and volunteers will grow exponentially so that we can accomplish some of the things that we want to do, and the main thing, which is to provide a bright future for our kids.
And our education can be very creative and fun here soon. Like you said, what you were planning. Yeah, and anybody, you're never too old or too young to start joining in these conversations. It's important, no matter how old you are. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Last words before I wrap it.
Ranked choice voting.
Yes, what's the hold up there, man?
That's what
Let's get the conversation going. No, really. We have to talk about these issues on a serious note, honestly. We do.
Yes, we do. Thanks.
All right. Well, thanks so much for watching our first real video episode of the Dave the Planet podcast. Be sure to follow the podcast, like, share, all those things so that this messaging can really exponentially explode like we need it to do, like our kids need it to do. We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, visit DaveThePlanet2024.com, donate, volunteer, subscribe to keep informed on campaign updates, and we'll see you next time.